Hi, today I'm going to be decorating my MIDI keyboard and talking about how I got into music production. I grew up playing classical piano and violin as a kid, and in school I was involved in a lot of the music extracurriculars. Like I was in the orchestra, I was in choir, I was in a cappella, I was in jazz band, and I was also we had a Japanese taiko drumming club, which I really liked. I just played a lot of music growing up. When I was in high school, I knew that I wanted to study music, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. At that time, I thought performing was the only thing. Performing and composition were like the only two things that you could study in music, but that is not the case. When I was researching for schools, I found Berkeley, and I was really attracted to the contemporary writing and production major, which is composition and arranging and producing, basically. And also in high school, I started producing a little bit. I use quotation marks because at that time I didn't know the difference between music production and mixing and mastering. I was just programming MIDI notes into my computer and that's it. I didn't mix it or anything. It was just a lot of instrumental stuff. I didn't write songs until I think like my senior year of undergrad. So I went to Berkeley and I also minored in writing for TV and video game scoring. So like writing for commercials and video games. And I feel like knowing how to write for different kinds of things is really helpful, even if I'm just like writing songs. So for my major, we had to do a lot of arranging for like jazz bands, orchestras, string quartets, pop music, choir, a cappella, like a lot of fun things. I still have a lot of my scores from undergrad because I spent so long just like cleaning up all the details. It was just a lot of effort put into those scores, so I keep them still. And then in undergrad, that's when I learned how to mix, how to produce, how to record, some basic like miking techniques. So that was kind of like the foundation of my music production knowledge. And then in my senior year, I was like, I wish I could dive deeper into music production and also songwriting. And also because I spent like 1.5 years of my undergrad on Zoom, I felt like I missed out a lot on like the socializing aspect. So I applied to the Berkeley NYC Songwriting and Production Masters in New York. So that is why I'm here. And in that program, it was a lot about learning how to do everything yourself as an indie artist. And that's when I learned a lot about production techniques, like fun little thingies. And I feel like that is where most of my personality of my music was collected. Like I take the little production techniques that I like from different classes and I applied them in my music. For example, that's where I learned how to use vocoder, like the Ableton vocoder, and vocal chops. That was like a really big part of my music identity today, was learned from my master's program. I also made a lot of friends. Up till senior year of undergrad, I didn't know, I knew I wanted to do music and I knew I wanted to make music, but I didn't know, like, I still didn't know like exactly what. And so now I know I'm an indie artist and I write, produce, and mix everything myself. And I also make all my own visuals. So I create like the whole era world, like your whole listening experience is made by me. Last year, I started releasing the songs I wrote during my master's program and making content because that is what we have to do now as indie artists in order to get our music out in the world. Yeah. So I have 2 music degrees and I am putting stickers on my MIDI keyboard.